Phil Williams. It's hard to go wrong when you're on the right side. Rightside Radio. Solid, conservative, and just plain right.
Alabama's syndicated news talk leader, Rightside Radio. Phil Williams here live in the Rightside studios. Man, we got the local, the state, the national covering down on all of the issues. And oh yeah, like the dude just said, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Well, welcome to it. Welcome to the middle of the week. It's that day that proves that you're making it through the week. You're halfway to the weekend. We like to call it hump day around here. We got a sound effect for that one. Hit it, man.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo! Yes, it is. It's hump day. You're halfway to the weekend, you guys. Congratulations. We'll get you all the way there. We'll get you all the way there. Coming on into Friday, I'm just saying. And that pushing the buttons with svelte smoothness with Big Rig. How you doing, buddy?
Good.
You like that, the svelte smoothness?
Svelte. What does that mean, svelte?
It's just like smooth, dude.
Okay.
It's just
nice.
Svelte and smooth. And it's
okay.
just
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Hey, we've been sitting here, by the way, watching Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, speak to a joint session of Congress, and good gosh, he nailed it. And what an amazing thing to watch an actual leader speak with forcefulness from the podium. So it's something to watch. But he had some great lines. He had some great lines in that speech. It was a dynamic speech. Of course, the Republicans were on their feet more often than not, applauding him. Democrats often kept their seats. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll cover down on that more, I'm sure, as the week progresses, but it was a great speech by Netanyahu. All right, we got a great show laid on for you. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. You know what that means? We don't just play the camel. We also have a thing at 4 o'clock we call the Grand Council, where I bring in two of my brethren, Jeff Poore and Dale Jackson, and we go back and forth pinging each other with questions and seeing where the chips fall. So, yeah, 4 o'clock today, the Grand Council, and then I've still got a triple dipper just filled up with stuff, so hit it, man.
The Triple Dipper. 3 stories you've got to know.
That's right, the Triple Dipper. 3 stories, 3 themes, if you will, that you got to know as we run today's show. Number 1, out the gate, libs love DEI. Man, they just do. They just love them some DEI. But don't try and accuse them of being DEI hires. Whew, no, that doesn't go over very well. Well, hang on, I thought you loved DEI. Yeah, but don't accuse me of being a DEI hire. But I thought you loved DEI. Don't accuse me of being a DEI. It's like this kind of verbal schizophrenia they have. But anyway, number 1, Triple Dipper, libs love DEI. Number 2, you know we got to do it. Every once in a while, we got to look around the world. We got to laugh. We got to cry. We got to throw something. Because we look at all the wokeness. We see the wokeness here, how much woke. Oh, look at all the woke over there. Wow, the wokeness. And next thing you know, we have what I call a buffet of wokeness. A veritable plethora, a cornucopia, if you will. A smorgasbord of wokeness. And so, yeah, we're going to do a round of adventures in woke world. Which I'll be honest with you, this one could be adventures in woke world / kakistocracy / jackassery all rolled into one. And then number 3, if we have time for it, coming after the heels of Grand Council, I'm just looking at this time that we're in politically. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. It's like Alice in Wonderland, man. It's madness. And so, yes, I am calling number 3 Through the Looking Glass. We'll talk about it. It's going to be an interesting dynamic for the next 100 days. Through the Looking Glass, number 3 on the Triple Dipper. All right, let me jump on in here to the opening monologue, the right side way. And I'll be honest with you, looking around at things right now, it's amazing, y'all, how often we are told that there's no there. You know what I mean? Like that thing that we knew, but then they told us we really didn't know it. Not really. Not really. Yeah, like when a New York Times podcast host named Kara Swisher not long ago asserted there was no evidence of political bias against conservatives on social media platforms. Remember that? A claim that was reiterated quite frequently by Democrat lawmakers and liberal media personalities. No evidence whatsoever. Just didn't happen. Nothing to see here. Everyone move along. Never mind that the former president of the United States, the Babylon Bee, and a host of others were all locked out, either temporarily or even completely, from various social media platforms. No. You didn't see what you thought you saw, for the love, people. And then Elon Musk bought Twitter, and suddenly we got to see it all in vivid technicolor. Everything that we knew that they said that we didn't know was suddenly spilling out into the public arena. Look, I think it's about to get funnier. Although maybe not funny haha, maybe more like funny weird. Like I said a moment ago, it's sort of like Alice in Wonderland funny, right? Where everything is surreal, nothing makes sense, but everybody acts like it does. Yeah, brace yourselves, my friend, because the next 100 days are going to be the gaslighting of America at levels we've never seen before. And heaven knows we've seen some gaslighting in the last few years. The media flip-flop right now from Biden good to Biden bad to Kamala no to Kamala yes is just, it's mind-boggling. It's also a little bit disconcerting. It's like the media has some kind of Tourette's syndrome and they shout with their words without any kind of control. But yet the media is given a pass when they do. And yeah, they're protected by the First Amendment rights, aren't they? Sure they are. The media's free, but the real question is not whether they can say it, but whether they should. The media may be free, but is the media fair? And the messaging that we're getting right now that Kamala has gone from second tier, kept in the back room, trotted out for photo ops, given cringy interviews with gushing left-wing bloggers and sycophants, well, that's all changed, y'all. That message is over with. She is now the statesman that we need for America in this dark time. I mean, these great times. These great times that she created with Joe. Joe, that's right, Joe Biden, the hero Joe. No, not the guy they were desperately disparaging last week. No, it's the hero Joe, the one who made the decision to give us all our futures back by stepping aside for the good of the country. Letting Kamala take the reins because she's young and vibrant and age really matters because Trump is old, except that age didn't matter last week, but it does now. Look, we're not always right as conservatives, I get that. But generally speaking, we see things pretty clearly, clear as day often. But they want us to believe that we are wrong for labeling truth as truth. Surely they must think that we are skulls full of mush, easily manipulated for them to be able to consistently place revisionist history in front of us and just expect that we're going to be finding it palatable. Well, there's an unofficial name for this. They call it gaslighting. It's a thing. I mean, some call it psyops, some call it misleading, some call it psychological abuse. I actually call it lying. But understand this, gaslighting, it's real. Gaslighting is actually considered in clinical circles as a form of psychological manipulation. It's used in the midst of abusive relationships, a means by which an abuser attempts to sow self-doubt and confusion in their victims' minds. It's a means by which one individual seeks to gain power and control over another by distorting reality and forcing them to question their own judgments and intuitions. Yeah, it's real. The term gaslighting comes from a 1938 play called Angel Street, which Alfred Hitchcock later adapted into a film that he called Gaslight, in which a man tries to convince his wife that she's going insane so he can steal from her. When he turns on the lights in the attic to search for her jewelry, and the gas lights dim downstairs, he tells her it's all in her imagination. Gradually, she begins to question her own memories, her own perceptions. But the term has become more normalized now. It's a part of our everyday vernacular. It's used often to describe what happens when public discourse or political speeches or social media censoring or any other form of dialogue works to create an alternative view. An alternative view coupled with an insulting or a canceling or a threatening of the person who dares to have the opposing view. Look, if you're wondering whether someone's gaslighting you, consider this following list of actual criteria. It's real. Gaslighting. Number 1, lying about or denying something and refusing to admit the lie even when you show them the proof. Like even to the point of insisting that an event or behavior you witness actually never happened, or that you're remembering it wrong. Mr. President, why is your administration walking back your words? Nobody's walking back anything. Right. How about changing the subject? Number 2, changing the subject or refusing to listen when confronted about a lie or other gaslighting behaviors. Karine Jean-Pierre saying, "We're done here, next question," when asked about Hunter Biden comes to mind. How about number 3, telling you you're overreacting when you call them out? Well, if Antifa wants to burn that restaurant, who are we to complain, right? This is a largely peaceful protest. How dare you question? You're overreacting. How about number 4, twisting a story to minimize their own behaviors? Well, the pullout from Afghanistan was a beautiful thing. We airlifted more people than ever, like in the history of all of ever. Minimizing their own behavior. Gaslighting. Or, number 5, lastly, separating you from others in order to keep you from contacts who can help you see more clearly. Sort of like when cancel culture tries to cut you out of your normal loops as punishment for not towing their line. Kind of like when Twitter deplatforms people, including the president, who didn't match their approved narrative so that no one can see what they had to say. So yeah, these are real criteria by which the measure gaslighting in the clinical setting is used. And I only gave you a partial list, y'all. But we see this every day, every single day. Well, the gaslighting of America, it's kicking in hard right now. Does anybody remember way back to, I don't know, like all of 3 days ago? 3 days. When Biden was absent and had not been seen in days? His press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, hadn't held a press conference to address the real concerns about his health and his presidency in over a week. And then suddenly she found time to make an appearance with Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg on The View yesterday and brag about how much good her administration has done for the world. Where have you been, Karine? Why didn't you tell us this in your official capacity in an actual press conference? We had no reason to be concerned, apparently. Joe was large and in charge. Okay. Do you remember when President Biden held a press conference in June of 2021 and he named Kamala Harris as the border czar, after which she gave a speech and accepted the role and told illegals not to come to America, and then millions came anyway. And then this morning, the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, Vox, Time Magazine, and the New York Times, and Axios all ran headlines announcing that she was never the border czar. No, she was never really the border czar. That was a misunderstanding on your part. We saw it. We were there. It was real. Wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Look, these next 100 days, it's going to be the gaslighting of all gaslighting, man. They will tell you that what you heard is not what you heard, that what you saw is not what you saw, that what you know is not what you know. Do not let them fool you. Don't let them cajole you. Don't let them threaten you. And if you saw it, if you're a witness, if you know that you know that you know, then refuse to be taken out of that warm light of truth and shuttled off to a dimly gaslit room. Yeah, some call it gaslighting. Some call it abusive. I call it a flat-out lie. And that's a wrap for the right side way. I'm telling you, man, they're going to be making up their own version of truth here every day for the next 100 days. Get used to it. Know your facts. Do some research. Listen to Rightside Radio, all of it. Stay in touch with each other and ask questions. Don't let them gaslight you. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. We are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Solid, conservative, and just plain right. Just, I mean, like, man, throwing truth bombs left and right now. Got a bunch of text messages already in the hopper. You want to text it or call it, the same number for both. It's 833-687-4448. That's 833-68-RIGHT. That's the number. Text it or call it. And we had one, Mike from Huntsville, who I think this actually may have come in last night. I believe it did. It did. It came in after hours last night. Okay. He says, he basically says that he's not averse to the idea that there could have been somebody in the deep state that helped orchestrate the assassination attempt against Trump. Look, man, anything's possible. I'm not saying it didn't. But right now, I think we just got to be careful with saying too much is fact until we know it's fact, is all I'm saying. And then we have another similar text, brand spanking new in the text lines, Rick from Madison. It's a very long text. Rick, I can't read a long text like that one online. It'd take me several minutes. But bottom line is what he's saying is we need to keep an eye out on Biden because he believes that there are those who would see Biden's death as a means of developing sympathy votes for Kamala Harris, I guess is what he's saying. And so Biden needs to be, safeguarded. And so that's an awful thing to think, but I understand why you think it. In fact, he said, is it a conspiracy theory? Yes. Would the shadow controllers really do that? I don't know, but they thought of it. Okay. Wow. David from Athens telling me that SCOTUS is the Supreme Court of the United States, that Biden is reportedly looking to change things. This is David from Bucky's, actually. He said, I can only hope that Biden and the left don't even try this. I don't understand why imposing term limits or age limitations for SCOTUS when there's no such limitation for Congress. Well, and so the reality is, too, my recollection, I think it's constitutional. I think the appointment of members of the Supreme Court by confirmation of the U.S. Senate is for what they call life or good cause, meaning they can stay there as long as they want to or until for good cause shown they can be removed, like through impeachment. So I don't think we're going to wind up seeing – now, Biden's a lame duck. He has no ability to get any legislation passed right now. He doesn't control the House. He doesn't – in fact, breaking news yesterday afternoon was Senator Bob Menendez, Democrat from Massachusetts, who was just convicted for taking bribes. He is resigning. That's going to leave that seat open, which means that the Democrats won't even technically control the Senate because it'll be a 50-50 vote at that point. 50-50? Yeah, no, it'll be 49 anyway. The bottom line is they don't. They're up by one. Now they won't be, I think, is the count. John from Huntsville, Phil, awesome monologue. Also, did you hear that Elon Musk is donating $45 million to Trump's campaign every month? I did hear that. It's actually to a super PAC that's going to be assisting Trump's campaign, but I did hear that, man. We talked about it, I think, briefly on the show the other day. Jeff from Indiana says, Phil, I think Rightside Radio should host an award show. First annual Joseph Goebbels Propaganda Awards. Start handing them out to journalists and news agencies that he'd be proud of. Wow, man, you know what? That's not a bad idea. That's really not a bad idea. I may have you on the judging panel, Jeff. Bruce from Springville says, in all my 61 years of life and as a retired veteran, I have never seen a more narcissistic administration than what we're experiencing today. What you described earlier defines every characteristic of a narcissist. Yes, it does, actually. And Bruce, thanks for your service, by the way. Thomas from Athens, paraphrasing President Obama for, this is a long one, paraphrasing President Obama for a new PAC advertisement, quote, if you want to keep your energy prices high or higher, you can keep your energy prices high. Just vote Democrat up and down your ballot. You want to keep your high, I get at the point. The bottom line is you can keep your borders open. You can keep your energy bills high. You can keep all of it. Yeah, it boggles the mind. That brings up a great point, though, Thomas. Yesterday, we say it on the show quite often, but yesterday Congressman Gary Palmer said it himself on the air with us that it's the policies that matter. They can put anybody in as their candidate right now. It's the policies that affect our lives. It is. It's not the personality, which by the way, I think that leadership personality matters. I do. We just watched Netanyahu's speech, and man, how refreshing it was to see a strong leader. But all to say, policies, we got to watch those too. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. We will be right back. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Covering down on some major ground across the northern half of the most beautiful state in the nation. This one, I'm talking about this one. I mean this one right here, Alabama. Y'all, this show goes like way down south of Birmingham and up north of Huntsville and Tuscaloosa, back to Gaston, parts of Georgia, Tennessee, and even Mississippi, all thrown in just for good measure. By the way, Gaslighter-in-Chief Karine Jean-Pierre is doing her first press conference in about the last 10 days, at least 10 days. And, yep, there she is. She's standing up there insisting the Biden exit has nothing to do with his health. He didn't exit because of his health. It's got nothing to do with it. And then she gives that kind of rocking back and forth, disdainful look because someone has a follow-up question and she has to take it. And she knows it's her job, but she hates her job, and she's going to do it anyway because that's how she's going to get a job on The View when she leaves the administration. It's going to be awesome. But the gaslighter-in-chief is insistent that Biden made this decision very quickly for non-health related reasons. He's going to talk about it tonight. Just stand by. He's going to address the nation tonight. Oh, good. He's going to show himself to the nation finally. After a freaking week, the president of the United States goes AWOL, and it's like a non-issue to them. I mean, he's been a little busy. He had COVID. Oh, okay. Zoom calls don't work anymore, I guess. His own doctor said his symptoms were minor. Anyway, nothing to do with his health. Sure, gaslighter-in-chief. Hey, by the way, the lovely Charlene just texted me a confirmation. We had that thing a minute ago, just an aside that John from Huntsville had said Elon Musk was giving $45 million a month to a super PAC on behalf of, the Trump campaign. And Musk is now saying, no, that reporting was incorrect. I never said I'd give $45 million a month. He is going to give significantly. But in a piece that she pulled, I think this one is off of Apple News or something, Elon Musk is saying, no, that's not what I'm doing. He did an interview yesterday with Jordan Peterson from the Daily Wire, and see if I can find an actual quote from him. Well, I can't find the quote, but he basically says, I don't know where they got the $45 million. That's not what I'm doing, but I'm doing a lot. Anyway, he's going to be in. He's already endorsed Trump. He's in. But $45 million, I mean, that would have been like, for the next 3 months, that would have been $150 million. Manetti. Anyway, there's that. All right, listen, we're gonna jump right in to Dipper number one. Libs love some DEI. They love them some DEI. Gotta have me some of that DEI. Hand me a big old slab of DEI. I like my DEI rare. Let's bring it on in, DEI. Well, guess what? DEI is on the outs, y'all. At least depending upon who you talk about. And I tell you what's really interesting to me is how offended they get when you tell them that they're a DEI hire, and yet they tell you they use DEI in their hiring. Well, hang on a second. What are you trying to say? Are you saying I didn't earn it on my merits? I'm saying you told me you didn't earn it on your merits. Let's use this kind of roundabout discussion with them. So next time some of you out there, you have liberal friends that intend to vote for Kamala Harris. That's their right. It's their constitutional right. They have a right to be stupid. But they have a right to their opinion, a right to their vote. But ask them this. Is she a DEI hire? Don't be insulting. She was the Attorney General of California. Well, President Biden says that his administration prides itself on its diversity, starting with the vice president. That's what he says. Well, where did he say that? Well, he said it in a statement recently. Well, she's not a DEI hire, but he says that it's because of diversity that she brings. So doesn't that mean she's a DEI hire? How about Ketanji Brown Jackson, Supreme Court of the United States? She's a brilliant woman, I'm sure. Brilliant. I don't agree with her views on life and the law, but I'm sure she's very learned, very brilliant. She will always have an asterisk by her name. Why? Because the president said he chose her simply because she was a black woman and, oh, by the way, good with the law. What? Yes. He said, I will put a black woman on the court. And what did he do? He nominated a black woman. That means that she did not compete with an entire realm of potential candidates because her skin color was the determining factor first as to whether she was going to be qualified for the job. I saw a tweet. Where is this? I saw it. Oh, it was Dale Jackson. Let me go to it real quick. I'm looking at my social media right now. Dale Jackson tweeted one out. He goes, media, Kamala Harris is not a DEI hire. Joe Biden, yes, she is. No kidding. And he has a thing from the whitehouse.gov. President Biden's words, to me, the values of diversity, equity, diversity, equality, inclusion are literally, and this is not kidding, the core strengths of America. That's why I'm proud to have the most diverse administration in history that taps into the full talents of our country, and it starts at the top with the vice president. She's a DEI hire. What are they going to talk about the entire time for the next 100 days? She's the first woman of color. Okay. She's the first potential woman president. Okay. Is she good at it? Can she do something for us? Is she going to be able to govern? Will she be able to lead effectively? Will she make strong decisions? Or will she be a liberal hack that's going to do more to destroy our country like she's been assisting with for the last 4 years? DEI. Libs love them some DEI. Diversity, equity, inclusion. Story here on WVTM Channel 13, local to Alabama. Just so you know, the Southern Poverty Law Center thinks that we're all mean if we don't like DEI. Yep. So remember, Alabama passed Act number 2024-34. Basically, it's a new bill that was passed this past March in the state legislature that bans the use of DEI in all state agencies, public universities, all of it. They cannot use DEI hiring practices or teach DEI concepts or use it in any way to leverage anyone for anything that they didn't otherwise earn on their merits. Sounds reasonable, right? Sounds like life. Civil rights leaders are speaking out as the University of Alabama system falls in line with the state targeting diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. First of all, I'll tell you about that in a minute. It appears that all that the University of Alabama system did was just rebrand the office with a new name. Same stuff, new name. But just hours after the University of Alabama, UAB, and UAH announced that their respective DEI programs were shutting down, the Southern Poverty Law Center, those harbingers of truth and non-bias, came out and issued a statement condemning the state for its actions. Okay, here's their statement. You ready? Quote, there is no doubt that Alabama is firmly on the wrong side of history when it comes to academic freedoms. DEI programs are necessary to address the historical and ongoing systemic inequalities. What are the inequalities, actually? To address these historical and ongoing systemic inequalities that marginalize students of color. How are they marginalized? Where are they marginalized? Big Rig, you got some crickets over there for me? I need some crickets. Let me do this. Ready? What are these systemic inequalities? Okay, next question. Give me a list of the ways in which, quote unquote, students of color are marginalized. There you go. Closing DEI offices will unnecessarily disrupt educational spaces statewide while telling students across the country that promoting inclusivity and fairness is not a priority in Alabama. Poppycock. So here's the deal. They will sling out terms like that. Systemic inequalities, that's called a broad brush. That's actually called unfair fighting. I used to work in the counseling environment, right? When someone says, well, everybody says this about you, that's because you're losing the argument and you don't know what to say. So you bring in, quote unquote, others to try to give weight to your losing argument. Unfair fighting is literally the sign of weakness. Don't go there. Well, you always do these things because that's who you are and everybody knows it. Really? Who's everybody? What is it they know? When did I do that? Systemic inequalities are a loser's argument. You marginalize students of color. Please tell me where they're marginalized because there are actually laws to protect against that. Well, you know we have to have more than just the laws. We do? Because last I checked, you have a right of action under the law if you are discriminated against, if you are turned away. Oh, no. We're not talking about turning them away. We're turning them about like not bringing them in. What do you mean? Well, you need to recruit more LGBTQ2IA plus people. So we're not talking about discrimination. We're just talking about how you just want more in there. Yes, and we need more people of different demographics and things. What kind of demographics do we need? Well, everything but Asian and white. Really? Yes, and we don't want cis white males. Oh, so you're basically saying, if I'm a straight, how about Christians? Ooh, that's scary too. Christian nationalism is a really big deal. So no, I don't think that's okay. Okay. So here's what they want. They want to jam-pack liberalism into the arenas that are paid for with tax dollars. That's what they want. And the Southern Poverty Law Center is all for it. So, by the way, just so you know, that anti-DEI bill that we passed in Alabama, it also says that they cannot sponsor DEI programs or compel people to have to agree to or share a divisive concept. Meaning, if critical race theory, if they say, "Hey, we're going to do this, like perp walk, where you have to stand up if you are considered white privileged," we're not doing that anymore. No more your games. Critical race theory, you're out of here. Students and staff can hold DEI programs, but state money cannot be used. So you can have your seminar. You can have a DEI club. Just raise dues. Public institutions also must designate their bathrooms on the basis of biological sex. Oh, no. Yep. So biological sex is what matters in our bathrooms in our public schools. Thank you, common sense, for coming back to us. And also, you cannot conditionally enroll people solely on the basis of race or color. It's no longer allowed. You can't say, well, we needed a black quota. Well, we needed a Native American Islander LGBTQ quota. You can't do that. That's called reverse racism. Thank you very much. But liberals, man, they love them some DEI. Give me some of that diversity, equity, and inclusion. Help me out here. I need a big old slab of it. Well, I got news. You're serving it up cold now, man. And we're gaining ground. We are. We come back, I'll tell you a few more places where DEI is still on tap, if you know what I'm saying. But wow, at the very least, we are gaining ground. Now, did the University of Alabama system really close its DEI offices? We'll talk about that more when I get back too. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. We are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Solid, conservative, and just plain right. Making common sense like a superpower. Hey, I got to jump to something real quick. Molly Hemingway, who works for The Federalist and is often a Fox News contributor, Molly Hemingway has been tracking some of the stuff that has been clearly, the effort being made right now to whitewash Kamala Harris's very liberal background. All right, it's really. So I mentioned in the gaslighting monologue I did a while ago, I mentioned that just today, headlines everywhere are being changed articles are being updated from the past to remove any possibility you could ever think that she was the border czar. We watched the freaking press conference where she stood there next to Biden and he said, I have appointed her to be in charge of our southern border and the issues therein. And we saw it. All the articles were about it. We know, listen, she owns it. Just own it. Just own it. Well, they can't own it. They can't own it. It'll be used against her. So right now, Molly Hemingway just posted something. I think the lovely Charlene is one that sent this to me. Molly Hemingway posts this and says, it's horrific to watch this in real time. There's a website that I don't usually go to called GovTrack. It's where they actually track, matters of governance, and allegedly they're going to be bipartisan. No. GovTrack just went back and changed an article to take off her ranking as the most left-leaning senator of 2019 before she assumed the vice presidency. She was literally, based upon co-sponsorship of bills and her votes, listed as the most left-leaning senator, Kamala Harris, of 2019. And GovTrack is now trying to remove that. It's a good thing we can grab screenshots, right? It's a good thing you can go to, some of the archival, software platforms where they can pull things back that were changed. Because they're doing this in real time. Talk about a gaslighting operation, man. Just own it. In terms of DEI, go back to that. Speaking of Kamala Harris, the DEI hire. Matt Walsh from the Daily Wire is about to have his second major movie production style documentary that is going to be really interesting. It's about DEI. The title of it is "Am I a Racist?" That's the title of the documentary. So yeah, conservative Politico, podcaster, media personality, and provocateur Matt Walsh is on a mission to answer a complicated question in his new documentary, "Am I a Racist?" Hollywood Reporter is the one that gave me the heads up on this, and then I also saw it listed on Daily Wire's website. Daily Wire dropped a new trailer on Tuesday, finding Walsh on a mission as he attends anti-racism workshops, crashes private intellectual dinner parties, and conducts sit-down interviews with experts and everyday Americans on the fiery subject while playing the role of a bumbling, zealous DEI trainee. So he goes in wearing a disguise, basically. He put on a tweed blazer, he put on different glasses, he wore a wig with a ponytail, and he claimed to be an academic, and he went into all these meetings and all these gatherings and all these seminars and began to listen to what all they say basically about us when we're not in the room. It's going to be epic funny. But the DEI stuff, it's not always just about, well, you hired the wrong people. Well, you're using our tax dollars to plus up, some demographics over others. Now, sometimes it's actually deadly. We saw it firsthand in the recent departure of Kimberly Cheadle as the director of the Secret Service. Story here on New York Post that came out just a couple of days ago, before she had resigned. It says, embattled Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle has unabashedly embraced woke initiatives at the Secret Service ever since she took over 2 years ago, including recruiting at Pride events, hosting seminars on pronoun usage, and even bringing in a popular YouTube female daredevil to attract a more diverse workforce. She unveiled what's called her marching orders in the Secret Service's 2023 through 27 strategic plan, demanding agents be, quote, focused on achieving excellence through talent, technology, and diversity. In her words, quote, we must embrace diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility across the agency. DEIA must be demonstrated by all employees, leading by example through actions every day. She went on to say once in an interview with CBS, I'm very conscious when I sit in this chair right now of making sure we need to attract diverse candidates and ensure we're developing and giving opportunities to everybody in the workforce, particularly women. How about this? Recruit people that can protect people. That's what your job is. Recruit people who can actually investigate the crimes that the Treasury side of the Secret Service is designed for, and then, oh, by the way, can also protect VIPs like, I don't know, Donald Trump. Other examples of the Secret Service increasingly going woke are hosting a seminar on the respectful use of pronouns during Unity Day, having a recruiting brochure that boasts the agency is striving to be the gold standard of DEI, forming an inclusion engagement council, which the agency's website defines as the game changers, helping them mold a diverse workforce, and setting up agency booths at gay pride events across the country to recruit. It's just, it's mind-boggling. In April of 2021, women outnumbered men for the first time in the graduating class at the Secret Service. And that was the cause of celebration, not just the fact that they were like highly qualified, ready to get her done. No, it was all about the diversity. More on this, Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We will be right back. Alabama's syndicated news talk leader, Rightside Radio. Phil Williams here live in the Rightside studios. Man, we got the local, the state, the national, covering down on all of the issues. And oh yeah, like the dude just said, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Welcome to hour number 2 on this hump day we call Camel Day. We're at 3 o'clock right now. Rain's coming down in our part of the state right now, so just keep your eyes on the road as you get closer to go home time. I'm in this section right now I'm calling Libs Love Some DEI. They do. Liberals love DEI. Until you remind them that it may be that they were hired because of DEI. Don't you insult me like that. What do you mean by saying that? Well, you just said you hire based on DEI premises and you got hired. Yeah, but I was hired for all the right reasons. I thought DEI was the right reason. It's schizophrenic. By the way, brand new texter in the text line, John from Muscle Shoals just texted in and said, hey, just listening and heard you use the term reverse racism. I'm not a big intellectual, but isn't all racism classified as racism? Okay, that's fair. That is. At least by definition, he says the term's not limited to any particular race, so the current DEI agenda against the basic white male is still racism, wouldn't you say? Yes, John, I will have to go with you. That's I can live with that. NBC News takes issue with something that just happened. Just north of our border, they got a congressional delegation that includes Representative Tim Burchett from Tennessee, Republican guy. He blasted Kamala Harris in a recent social media post. This is a story that came out just yesterday. In a recent social media post, calling her a DEI vice president, using the initialism for diversity, equity, and inclusion. The media propped this president up, says Burchett, lied to the American people for 3 years and then dumped him for our DEI vice president. He also referred to Harris as a DEI hire in a brief interview that he did on Monday, telling CNN that during the 2020 campaign, candidate Joe Biden said he was going to hire a black female for vice president. Well, what about white females? What about any other group, Burchett added. Yeah, so all said and done, he's getting called out right now. So Burchett, who's been around for a while, I mean, he even said in a recent Newsmax interview, he says, when I hear her talk, I just scratch my head and think, this is what DEI is really all about. It clearly is. She checks all the boxes. She'll say she's of Indian descent one day. She'll say she's of black descent another day. It's just box checking. It's DEI. This is him talking. So it's hard to argue with that, except that liberals do not appreciate hearing it said. That's the inane piece of their logic, is that if you're going to claim that it's so worthy, then either adopt it for yourself because it fits, or don't claim it worthy at all. But you can't go ahead and say, well, DEI is necessary, it's important, we need to have a more diverse staff or more diverse political ticket or whatever. And then when we go, so you're a DEI hire, don't look insulted. Embrace it, right? So is Burchett a liar or not? No, he's not. Because we know for a fact that Kamala Harris checked some boxes. Because Biden said what he was going to look for in a vice president. And he got it. And he brags about it. And now all they can talk about is she's going to be potentially the first, woman of color who will be elected as president of the United States. Until you point out that's DEI, and they're like, stop it. Don't you insult the merits of her job. She's good at what she does. Is she really, or is she just the first woman of color? Which is it? Back at home, University of Alabama, Huntsville, which is part of the UA system, obviously. University of Alabama in Huntsville has removed all of its DEI offices from its campuses. Okay. A spokesperson from UAH says that a, quote, new office is opening. And they call it the Office of Access, Connections, and Engagement. Big Rig just rolled his eyes like there's no tomorrow. Yeah, it's going to aid future present and past students navigating life as UAH students. Okay. Let's be clear. Just because you gave it a new name. I mean, if it looks like a duck, acts like a duck, smells like a duck, it's still DEI. Just saying. But that's not all. The University of Alabama system in general is keeping all their DEI leadership, just rebranding the departments after the state passes its ban. So 1819 News had a piece that came out yesterday afternoon. University of Alabama system announced on Tuesday it was rebranding. It didn't say getting rid of. They are rebranding its diversity, equity, and inclusion offices, but keeping the same leadership at Birmingham, Huntsville, and Tuscaloosa campuses. What? Did they have tenure? I guess. I don't. So DEI has tenure? University of Alabama will now have a division of opportunities, connections, and success. What does that sound like to you? That quote furthers the university's efforts to promote success for everyone in the UA community, including those who may face educational access and achievement challenges. God almighty. The division will be led by Dr. Christine Taylor. Who is she? Well, she's the UA Vice President and Associate Provost for DEI, was hired in 2017. Look, y'all, you just made a turd sandwich, tried to get everybody to eat it, and when they didn't want to, you put the turd on a different piece of bread and told them to eat it again. It doesn't work like this. University of Alabama at Birmingham also closes DEI office. It will now be called the Office of Access and Engagement. It will, quote, open with a new charge and function to broadly serve it. Sure it will. To broadly serve and promote the access of all UAB students, faculty, and staff. They love them some DEI. But so here's the thing. For the next 100 days, you're going to hear DEI principles left and right. Well, you realize that this is very important because now we have the very first ever whatever. Now we have the potential for the very first whatever. Now we know for a fact that what we've got is more diverse because we hired them. So you're saying they were a DEI hire. No. Don't insult their intelligence. Don't insult who they are. Don't you come at them like that. You just said. So that's what you got to do. That's the counterpoint, all right? That's the counterpoint. When they're talking to you about Kamala Harris, just go ahead and call her a DEI hire. When they take offense at it, say, I thought y'all embraced DEI. Well, but you're insulting her. No, I'm not. The president said he was looking for the first black female, and you're talking about how great it's going to be that she'll be the first black female. And yeah, let her go, man. DEI, they love them some DEI. Let me get a few text messages for the break. John C. from Madison says, Kamala Harris always sounds like she's drunk while she's talking. Okay. Thank you, John C. Ed P. Phil, I guess DEI is now going to DIE. I hope so. That would be the plan. Cameron from Decatur says, we need more DEI in professional athletics. Yeah, I don't see that happening. But yeah, let's see whether DEI is used by, I don't know, pick one, Tennessee Titans, Atlanta Falcons. Are they going to use DEI? No. They want the best athlete. They don't care what skin color. They want the best athlete. Rightfully so. You don't win games with DEI recruiting of players, right? Why would you expect it to be different anywhere else? Barry from Fultondale says, Phil, what about Biden's remarks about his pick that black man when he forgot General Lloyd Austin? Yeah, that was pretty awful. I don't know what else to say about that. It was just pretty awful. Jeff from Indiana, Phil, isn't this ironic that Joe Biden is getting driven out of running for president because of his mental faculties when he's actually more coherent than the majority of his voters? Okay. Russell from rural Route 1. There's that wears me out trying to say that. Russell from rural Route 1. Phil, the inequalities are living in a Democrat-controlled city and school system. Yeah, that is an inequality. Jeremy from Madison says, the fact is that liberals would rather have someone who checks the boxes destroy the country versus someone that doesn't check any boxes that brings prosperity. Yeah, I don't get it, but you are right. JT Lacey Springs says, Biden or Harris? When a ventriloquist swaps dummy is the same person still in control. Wow. Brad from Limestone County. Have you looked into Kamala Harris's citizenship status? She was born in Oakland, but neither her father nor mother were naturalized citizens on the date of her birth. I heard that for the first time a couple of days ago, and I don't know for a fact that that's the law. I'd be interested to hear somebody who's more versed in the laws of citizenship give me a rundown on it, but it is an interesting twist, isn't it? Last couple before the break, Gary from Decatur says, today a retired Chicago police detective spoke out in a news article that warned voters about Kamala Harris's support of Jussie Smollett. Oh, yes, I saw that. stating that the attack on Smollett was another lynching inspired by MAGA supporters. That statement has never been taken down. She's got to be one of the most racist candidates ever put in political office. Well put, Gary. Marvin from Guntersville. Biden did the same thing with the Supreme Court. Yes, he did. I talked about that. Ketanji Brown Jackson. And then the last thing we got here, what'd you send me, Sam? Sam sends me a meme. And Sam, I don't know what you're trying to tell me, but it's like memes after memes after memes after memes. But thank you for your time, Sam. All right, listen. We got more to come. We're going to come right back. We're going to jump into some adventures in woke world. And then coming up top of the hour, we're going to have, the Grand Council with Jeff Poore and Dale Jackson. Y'all stay tuned. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. We will be right, and we will be back. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative and just plain right. Man, saving the world, one soundbite at a time. Hey, just so you know, by the way, pro-Palestinian protesters are clashing with police outside of the U.S. Capitol. They know things. I'm looking at some of their little skulls full of mush and thinking, you've got all the life experience of a gnat. And they're shouting all their from the river to the sea junk. But there have been some of them that have been fairly violent, and some have also been, willing to engage in, destruction of property and graffiti on our monuments and all that kind of stuff. And I'm saying, man, take them down. But the other thing that really just drives me crazy is they get out there and protest, but they wear masks. And there really ought to be some measure of I don't know how you address this, but if you're going to protest, you ought to have to show your face. That's just a sense that I have. You ought to have to show your face. If you're going to do all this stuff and claim all these things and be bold and brash, well, then how about you show your face? Well, they know most of them won't because they know they'll face repercussions for it. John from Huntsville says, Phil, I want to let you know that you're doing a great job. Man, brother, thank you so much. That was awesome. Thank you very much. Britt from Athens, 14th Amendment states that anyone born in the U.S. as a naturalized citizen doesn't matter about your parents. I need to go look at it, Britt, and see if there's any caveats. That's my recollection too, but anyway, I don't know. David from Bucky's says, Phil, this is how you should ask Dale his questions today. So Dale, what do you want to talk about today? Why would I do that? He'll just chase a rabbit on my show if I do that. No, we're not doing that. No. Okay, listen. John from Brownsboro says, regardless of her, Kamala's, parents' citizenship, she was born on American soil. She's a citizen of the U.S. At least that's what I heard in 6th grade. Okay, John, thanks. And then John from Jasper says, with regards to the protesters, sounds like an insurrection, no doubt. But, that's only if they're, on the right side of things. All right, look, you know the deal. Sometimes when I am prepping the show, sometimes when I am getting things ready, when I am early in the morning pulling together resources, I find myself going, look at the woke. Did you see that? Look, oh my gosh, at the woke. How much wokeness? Wow. Oh man, that's woke. And I wind up with just a stack of stuff, a whole bunch of woke, like a pile of woke, like a veritable pile of woke, like 10 pounds of woke in a 5-pound bag, like a smorgasbord, a plethora, a cornucopia of wokeness. And that's when it's time to do another round of adventures in woke world.
Adventures in woke world.
I got some in here. Some are funny, some are not. Some you look at them and go, what's wrong with you people? Like, how about this? So I don't know about y'all, but as a kid, we actually if I more than once, I can remember this. It would drive me crazy, but now I get it. I would say, Mom, what's that word mean? And the answer would be, go look it up in the dictionary. Oh, Mom, just tell me what it means. Just go look it up in the dictionary. Okay. And I did. And I learned to use the Webster's Dictionary, which became the Merriam-Webster's Dictionary. And it was a hardback. And I've actually got one still on a shelf at my study. Just, old school. Remember Encyclopedia Britannicas? Remember all of them? The books? The guys would come around to your front door and sell you a set of encyclopedias.
I had a set of those.
Oh, man, yeah.
My dad bought them.
Everybody did. But now it's all digital. So much is digital now. But the Merriam-Webster Company wants you to know that here in the digital age, they are finding reasons to morph the English language because they were told to, I guess. Like, for instance, the word female. So, website called WokeSpy. I've gone to quite a bit lately when I'm looking for stuff that fits this mold, and I find myself just laughing at some of the stuff on there. Other things are like I look at it and go, what? So Merriam-Webster Company is looking to go woke here, and they have a way you can type in how do you define, and the word was female, and the author wrote female. And it got back a reply that basically being female is usually of the female sex. But it can also mean things like gender identity, which are opposite to the biological sex. And so the bottom line is they're like, wait, hang on a second, what? And this was then posted on social media on Merriam-Webster's website, at which point Merriam-Webster then also locked down the posting so that no one could reply to it. So the point being made here is that's right. In the world in which we live in 2024, the authoritative dictionary shut down all discussions and retracted any questions when sane, normal people told it that the word female just means what it means. I have not gone and done this myself yet. I read the article and I thought, I probably need to type it in to see. But I'm gonna check this out later. But here we are. I mean, what the heck? It's Webster's dictionary, and I wonder now. I need to go look and see if the pronouns they and them actually apply to singular people under Merriam-Webster's thesaurus. But I find this to be both offensive, obnoxious, and filled with jackassery all at the same time. But it is definitely a part of woke world. Merriam-Webster's dictionary, the authoritative source for defining of words, can no longer define a woman. I tell you what, we're about to hit a break. During the break, I'm going to be looking this up again too, and I may just play with this and see what else I can plug in there. Like, I don't know, how do you define? I wonder how they define male. I don't know. That's M-A-L-E, not M-A-I-L. But yes, male.
We haven't gotten to that, but I'm sure we will eventually sometime this year.
Oh, I feel certain that we're there. I'm going to bet that we're there. Adventures in Woke World finds you all the best stuff. When we get back from the break, I'll be telling you about, I don't know, how about the drag queen that's on Kamala Harris's campaign staff? That's awesome. But how about the fact that we actually have some anti-woke stuff that's going really, really well? Tell you all about it. We'll be right back. We are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative and just plain right. Just covering down on some major ground across the northern half of the most beautiful state in the nation. I'm talking about Alabama. Y'all, I mean, this show goes like way down south of Birmingham, up north of Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, back to Gadsden, parts of Georgia, Tennessee, and even Mississippi, all thrown in just for good measure. Hey, by the way, before I go any further, I gotta remind you guys, for over the past month, I guess, I've been introducing you to one of our new sponsors, Inspire Advisors. Inspire Advisors. So did you know that some of the most popular companies that people invest in these days are often not aligned with biblical values? Like your investment dollars could be unintentionally supporting things like abortion, pornography, human trafficking. I mean, look, it happens all the time. It may be in your portfolio, you don't even know it. So maybe it's time for you to meet Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors. And I mean like meet them in person. They'll sit down with you, a free meeting, and they can talk to you about what is known as biblically responsible investing, or BRI. They can square you away on what it means to make sure your portfolio actually supports the things you say you believe in. At the same time, returning your return on investment in a strong way. Look, to learn more about BRI, all you got to do is contact Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors today. They will sit down with you. It'll be an in-person meeting. They will work through the processes with you. No charge, no fuss, no muss, no upsell. They're just going to try and make sure you understand what's out there and what's available, and maybe give you some biblically aligned alternatives. So to learn more about BRI, yes, indeed, contact Paul Breyer and Inspire Advisors, and you can do that at their website, which is moneypatternwealth.com. That's moneypatternwealth.com. Or you can go to our website, rightsidemedia.org. Go to the Rightside Radio portion and click on sponsors. Just click on their logo. Takes you right to their website. So yeah, Inspire Advisors. It's conservative, it's godly, it's balanced. It's financial freedom with Inspire Advisors. Check them out. I really wish you would. All right, I am back in the Second Dipper, Adventures in Woke World. So just so you know, by the way, during the break, I went and I ran a test. I should have done this before the show started, but I did it during the break, and so there you go. Big rig. The word they. It's a pronoun. Merriam-Webster says the fourth of has multiple definitions sometimes. The fourth definition is used to refer to a single person whose gender identity is non-binary. Our much vaunted Merriam-Webster dictionary is redefining pronouns. I don't know what committee sat around and said the English language should be thus and so, but apparently Merriam-Webster, which is supposed to be one of the authorities on the English language, is now saying that they and them can be used for singular non-binary people. My God. By the way, just so you know, male and female, I looked those up too. And they also, one of the definitions is as to the gender identity of the person. Yeah. Okay. How about Kamala Harris, our DEI hire for vice president? Well, Kamala Harris, just so you know, she is not afraid to have quite the diverse staff. So right now, on her Pennsylvania staff, her director of communications for the state of Pennsylvania, I believe it is a guy named Eric Lipka. Eric Lipka, who also goes by Erotica the Drag Queen. How many times have you rolled your eyes today on this show?
I don't know, man. Lost count.
Just a few.
We're just making up our own rules and
rewriting the English language.
Yep.
It's a goat rodeo. There's your favorite term. It's a goat rodeo, Big Rig.
I love that.
Roping goats and herding cats. Yeah, Eric Lipka has been unmasked as Erotica the Drag Queen, who was appointed as a deputy press secretary for Biden-Harris campaign in Pennsylvania. Lipka's accounts were quickly locked down when conservative media approached him for comment. Why? Is he not proud of his dragness? Is he not happy that as a DEI hire, he is now on the staff of the next woman of color, potentially the president of the United States? She's not going to be president. Don't say that. The Democrats have defended Lipka's appointment with Pennsylvania Communications Director Jack Doyle, telling Fox News they were proud to have a drag queen on board. Okay. We're proud to have a team of 200 talented Pennsylvania staffers, including Eric, highlighting Trump's record killing 275,000 jobs across the Commonwealth. Blah, 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 blah. Somehow I don't think so. Now, here's the thing. Dude wants to dress and drag in his off time, whatever. The question I have is, has he been doing drag queen story hour with kids? Has he gone to family-friendly events and cavorted in front of kids? And how do they feel really, though? How do they feel really about drag lampooning women in general? You're working for a female candidate, and you're going to lampoon women as a dude in a dress with fake prosthetic parts and big lips and clownish makeup. I don't know. I don't know how they get it. Here, it's not right to do blackface, right? It's not. It's not. I don't like it. I don't think it should be. And I get why it would be offensive. Why are female activists not offended by drag queens? It's the female version of blackface. And yet Kamala Harris, first woman of color to run for president, as the nominee, almost, sort of, kind of, not really, but she's trying to be, now has a drag queen on her staff. Awesome. Just so you know, by the way, ESG is still out there. Environmental, social, governance. It's that whole thing about, making sure that where you invest your money, it also plants trees, promotes net zero emissions on cars, makes sure that government never requires photo ID for voting, and that government does not get in the way of transgender treatments for children. All the stuff, all right? ESG is ridiculous. ESG has actually been, I think there are ESG lawsuits ongoing right now. But the Associated Press recently ran a story here. I've got it on the AP July 19th, so it's just about 5 days old. AP, the U.S. Treasury Department warns that anti-woke banking laws like Florida's are now a national security risk. Hello? Come again? Yes. The Treasury Department, in all of its wokeness, is warning that state laws that restrict banks from considering environmental, social, and governance factors could actually harm their efforts to address money laundering and terrorism financing. How is that a thing? So let me get this straight. If your portfolio is not vested in companies that support liberal ideals, somehow or another that promotes money laundering. I'm struggling to follow the logic. Oh, that was my problem. There's no logic. According to the AP, the Treasury Department letter said that Florida's law, which is designed to prevent unsafe and unsound business practices, that Florida's law could undermine the work of federal agencies, heightening the risk that international drug traffickers, transnational organized criminals, terrorists, and corrupt foreign officials will then use the U.S. financial systems to launder money, evade sanctions, and threaten our national security. What? Where did they get off saying this? They just accused Governor Ron DeSantis and the state of Florida's legislature of promoting international drug traffickers and corrupt foreign officials by not wanting to invest in money-losing propositions. That's where we are. That's what wokeness does. It finds new ways to rewrite the English language and certainly to make us feel like we're all the criminals because we don't want to do their things. All right. I got a couple more here. What do I got here? Which one I'm going to do? Oh, by the way, you'll be happy to know Bud Light, since the Dylan Mulvaney thing, has now slipped into third place in U.S. sales. The backlash continues. They dropped from first to second. They are now in third. Now the order of beer, the order of march for beer is apparently Modelo, Michelob Ultra, and then Bud Light. Wow. Somewhere along the line, someone is sitting in a boardroom going, I hate that Dylan Mulvaney guy, as they watch their shares plummet. How much time I got? I got time. HotAir.com has a piece this morning saying that General Motors, the big GM, General Motors, is the headline says, GM is like about that second electric truck plant and stuff. It's happening, y'all. Even before the Biden administration leaves office, which I am praying they are, even before the Biden administration leaves office, you are seeing the righting of the ship when it comes to the auto industry. They got so out of whack They were pressured to do so many things. They are seeing a shareholder backlash right now. As shares plummet, sales drop, and they've got a stockpile of inventory they can't move. You're looking right now at Detroit automakers' plans for future battery cell plants. They're coming to a halt. General Motors said Tuesday it's again slowing its plans for all-electric vehicles by further delaying a second U.S. electric truck plant and the Buick brand's first-ever EV. The 6-month delay in retooling the electric truck plant in Michigan until mid-2026 also means that GM will not achieve its prior target of having North American production capacity of 1 million EVs by next year. Yeah, last I heard, too, there was also a plan for a new plant in, where is it, Ontario, Canada. Oh, yeah, here it is. New plans, Ford Motors will expand production of its Super Duty trucks to a Canadian plant that was previously going to be converted to an all-electric vehicle hub. So you got the Oakville Assembly Complex in Ontario, Canada was going to be all electric. Everything come out of their EV. Not anymore. Now they're going back to Super Duty pickup trucks that burn a whole lot of diesel. I'm just saying. Bring it. Go woke, go broke. There you have it. I'll tell you what. Last one. I got one left. I got a couple left, but I'm going to stick with one. Just so you know. Aside from the fact that the EV market is righting itself, and that people are pushing back on DEI, and that ESG laws are being passed. The other thing you might want to know is there are anti-woke investment companies out there that are surging. One of them is the one that was started in part by Vivek Ramaswamy back in 2022. The company's called Strive Wealth Management. They just went through a whole Series B fundraiser, which is like the next layer of fundraising. They raised $30 million in capital. They now manage over $1.6 billion in assets. And they are a company that prides itself on being non-woke, anti-ESG in all their investing. That's just very cool. And I'm loving it. All right, that's Adventures in Woke World. We got some stuff, man. I got a ton of emails or text messages dropping in, so I'll get those right after the break. And then coming up top of the hour, we'll be heading to the Grand Council with Jeff Poore and Dale Jackson. Y'all stay tuned. We will be right back. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Solid, conservative, and just plain right. I mean, like, man, making common sense like a superpower. And the lovely Charlene has been sending me some text messages and mostly with links to things that are happening right now on the pro-Palestinian protesters in D.C. right now. They are on a destructive tear. In fact, one of them, they shows they just... in front of Union Station, they just pulled down the American flag off the pole and ran up a Palestinian flag. They're burning American flags, and the graffiti and the destruction is just. Listen, this has got to stop. This is not right. Death to America, written on our statues and monuments. Free Gaza. I tell you what, send some of them over there and see how long they feel badly about it. Just unbelievable. Text messages. Let's see what we got here. Tom from Gurley says, when I hear them refer to themselves as they, them, I think of Mark 5:9. And he was asking them, what is your name? And they said to him, my name is Legion, for we are many. Tom, you are so spot on, brother. I have thought that before, and yes. Wow. Mindy from Morris. And by the way, hey, can you update Big Rig? Update Mindy's profile to include where she's from Morris, Alabama. Mindy from Morris says, hey, Phil, did you hear about Harley Davidson going woke? Harley Davidson? Including a training specifically for white males? Heard it on Glenn Beck this morning. I've not heard this. I will have to check that out. That is unbelievable. I'm assuming the training for white males was to help them identify their own privilege. But Harley Davidson? We need to get our country back. Harris from Athens says, in reference to the vice cackling nincompoop, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, here I am, stuck in the middle with you and Big Rig. Nice. Monty from Huntsville says, always heard that expression as a goat rope, which precedes the, yeah, I know it does, but a goat rodeo is what we're roping goats in the goat rodeo. That's where we are. John from Lexington, South Carolina says, just completed my civilian diversity training for the Army. Oh, Lord. The slides spell out succinctly that the goal is equal outcomes. When it was mentioned that standards must drop to achieve the standards, that individual was chastised. Yeah, I'm sure. Hang in there, John. New day's coming, man. Navy Phil from Athens. Navy Phil says, come on now, Phil. As non-binary implies multiple personalities, it's applicable. They, them. Wow. No, I don't like it. Jody from Notasulga says, Colonel, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination in employment based on race, color, religion, or national origin. Doesn't that make DEI illegal? You would think. And yet here we are having to ban it at the state level. I'm glad I have a smart audience. JT from Lacey Springs says, hey, Big Rig, your grade today from John's going to be a C for missing the jackassery sound effects. I did say jackassery earlier. He's got a point. I said, you might want to recoup it like right now. If I said jackassery, what would you do? Would you just miss out on the out? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Brad from Limestone County. Long one. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Amendment 14 of the U.S. Constitution contains the relevant passage. Thank you. I will not read the whole thing, but what's his point? He's talking about whether Kamala is able to be a U.S. citizen. All persons born or naturalized in the U.S., subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States. Yeah, there's interpretation on that, but you're right. I think right now that is going to be the standard. Plus, I don't think anybody's going to try and disqualify her on that ground in the next 100 days. Tim from Mount Hebron, Alabama says, where's the jackassery sound effect? See, I said it earlier, and you just, Big Rig. Come on, man.
My apologies. I dropped the ball.
Svelte and smooth, but you got to catch those opportunities for points. Jeff from Indiana. Phil, have you seen the new spelling bee that the spelling that the Webster's Dictionary has changed? They changed the spelling of Democrat. They changed the E to an I because it's Democrat. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Listen, we got plenty more where that came from. Coming up after the top of the hour, we're going to be with Jeff Poore and Dale Jackson. We like to call it the Grand Council. We come in And we come in smoking, man. I mean, we come in with questions for each other, and we just basically ping them back and forth and see where we stand. Those two guys have been doing this longer than I have, and it usually winds up being pretty fun. So stand by for that one. One last text, brand spanking new in the system. You got him, Dave from Harvest. He says, listen to you for quite a while, decided to finally text you. I'm quite angry with the GOP and the Trump campaign. They walked into the Democrats' trap with that early debate. They should have known that it was a litmus test for Biden, an excuse for them to toss him overboard when he tanked on national TV. I think they did. And I think, I'll be honest with you, I think it's worked out. Now, granted, I'll say this, Kamala's going to get a bump. She's going to get the, oh, good, we got something else bump, all right? She's getting, it's to be expected. But they got Kamala. So it's not like they suddenly went with the A-team, right? But here's the other piece. What did we talk about nonstop? What finally became the topic of real conversation everywhere? The Biden administration's inequities and the inability for the world to feel confident in who he was and who was right next to him the entire time? Kamala. So as this begins to, don't think we're done with it, as it begins to unfold even more, she's going to get tied to it left and right. They would have been better off finding somebody outside the fold, if you know what I'm saying. Somebody who could say, well, I wasn't working with her every day. I didn't know. They didn't get that. I think the early debate wound up being their trap, and they didn't know what to do with it. And now they're in disarray, and they're trying to get their act back together. Coming up next, Grand Council. Y'all stay tuned. We will be right back. Oklahoma's syndicated news talk leader, Rightside Radio. Phil Williams here live from the Rightside studios. Man, we got the local, the state, the national, covering down on all of the issues. And oh yeah, like the dude just said, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Well, welcome to hour number 3 on this hump day. And yes, this is the time in which we jump into a thing we like to call the Grand Council. Get together with two of my brethren and talk radio. We ping each other with questions. We just see where the chips fall. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. But hey, we always love each other in the end. Let me just call the roll from FM Talk 1065 down yonder in Mobile, host of the Jeff Poor Show, also the editor-in-chief for 1819 News. Jeff Poor, are you there?
I am present.
You are indeed. Thank you so much. All right, and calling in by phone right now from 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN up in Huntsville, also broadcasting on multiple other stations, allegedly in other places around the state. And, oh, by the way, writing for Yellowhammer News. Dale Jackson, are you there? Is he there? Did we lose Dale? Dale Jackson, are you there? Dale's not there. Oh, my gosh. You know what? Big Rig, ready for a sound effect? 2 out of 3. We got a quorum. I'm going to go ahead and say, hit me some sound.
Assemble the Grand Council.
Ba-da. Ba-da. All right, so we're back, Grand Council, with 2 of us. I'm going to say, why don't we just sit here and talk about Dale Jackson for a few minutes? I think that'd be a hoot. Jeff, what is your question about Dale?
Dale preparing for this segment, or Dale preparing for this wrestling event in Nashville he's going to tonight? What did he put more time into?
I'm going to go ahead and say very likely more time preparing for the wrestling event, because that is absolutely a priority over anything radio. We know that for a fact.
Yeah, it seems to be his mojo there, but I don't get it. Do you?
I just, all I know is this. It's a father-son thing, so I can't argue with taking Grant, but nonetheless.
He was doing it before Grant came along.
So you're not excusing it now is what you're saying.
No. Don't give him that out.
Grand Council stuff. What's your first question from Moa on the Grand Council?
Let's kick it off here. I mean, the Kamala honeymoon is underway.
Yeah.
How much longer do we have to endure this?
Well, I tell you what's the most galling thing. I did my monologue today on the gaslighting. Like, for instance, they're already revising old headlines, and like Axios completely got rid of the whole thing about her being the border czar back in the day. And then you got any number of other articles. I think one GovTrack just said that she's no longer considered to be the 2019 most liberal senator. So I don't know, man. I don't know how long ago. She's going to get a bump, and we knew part of the bump is just the relief they have in not having Biden. But how long can this last? I give it another week, and then stuff begins to sort of trickle out, and she cackles badly, and then word salad, and then we'll see. What are your thoughts?
I think they're going to be let down by her. I don't think she is I'm very underwhelmed by her work ethic. I think she is not going to last till November 5th. I'm telling you, Senator, if she were as great as they say she is, she'd be president right now.
Yeah, and she would have done better in the primary last time with more than the 1% she got and dropped out early. I'm told that Dale Jackson is back on the line en route to his wrestling event in Nashville. Dale, you there?
Blood and guts.
All right,
that's what we're doing.
We talked all about you, just so you know. We already had our Dale Jackson bashing session before you got on. Hey, the question right now is, how long is the Kamala honeymoon going to last? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, this is going to go on until the election. I mean, the media is forcing this. The same people that told you Biden was fine are now telling you Kamala Harris is confident. Nobody believes them, but it's not about us who are paying attention. It's about my mom, who watches ABC News every single evening. I just love the David Muir guy. He's so nice. That's what it's about. Those millions upon millions of people that do that, who now are like, oh, yes, Kamala Harris, so exciting. Yeah, and she is, because she's not Joe Biden. That's it. But I think this goes on far longer. She's got the best thing in the world going for her. She'll get the Barack Obama coverage and the Hillary Clinton coverage together. And I think that she's got it. I don't think this is a slam dunk by any chance for Republicans and for Donald Trump. Every single word said about her, like, hey, do you have any accomplishments? I'm like, whoa, that's racist. What are you suggesting? That you got to have an accomplishment to run for president now? And that's exactly what's going to happen. So I think this goes on for a while.
Any other thoughts on your own question there, Jeff?
No, I still think they're going to be let down, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go on forever.
I don't
Dale, I don't think she is committed to the cause.
I think she's got her moment in the spotlight, and it's like an episode of Veep, and it's going to burn out pretty. I think she's got about 30 days of karma for Kamala, and then it's going to wind up expiring, and it's going to be like buyer's remorse on the Democrat side. That's my thoughts. Just saying. In fact, I tell you what. Let me take that a step further. I'll take my question next. Why is it insulting to say she's a DEI hire? When they say they love DEI, they claim to love DEI. DEI is all the rage, and Biden himself even said he was looking for black females to be in his administration, starting with the vice president, and yet people are insulted when we say she's a DEI hire. Jeff.
Because it undermines that she has the merit to be president of the United States, and they know that is it's like. Okay for thee, but not for me, a sort of approach to what kind of society we're going to live in. And by saying she's a DEI president, it undermines their argument that she's a better choice than Donald Trump, or for that matter, than Joe Biden. So I think she is the DEI stuff that they're going to have to try to figure out how to explain it.
Dale, why is it so bad to call her a DEI hire?
If she ain't a DEI hire, there's no reason for DEI at all.
DEI exists solely to give her platform. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, if she doesn't need DEI to get this job, then it has no reason to exist. I mean, that's as simple as I can put it. There's just no reason for it. And what's going on in Alabama, where they're closing all the offices. They're just moving around the money and calling it something else.
Yep.
That's all you're going to get. Look, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. Some terrible news outlet like 1819 News is going to be telling us a little bit later this year about some crazy DEI-style stuff happening in the non-DEI offices at the University of Alabama. That's going to happen.
Yeah, well, okay, all the same, I suspect that sometime soon we'll see Kamala Harris talk passionately about why DEI needs to get reinstated back in all these universities in evil states like Alabama, and yet she's the DEI hire. All right, Dale, what question do you have for the crew?
Wandling Gavan, first Democrat that I've seen come out in favor of the governor sending in the police. Now, she didn't call for the National Guard, which is exactly what they should do because they could do that now. But they instead called for like some sort of state takeover from the Attorney General or from the governor or I don't know, like some farm commissioner somewhere. He gets to do it. But they haven't decided what that looks like, but she's in favor of it. Will other Democrats follow suit?
Jeff, y'all ran to this, so go with it. What do you think? Did we lose Jeff?
Good.
We lost Jeff after we just harangued you for dropping
and that
your
wasn't my
signal.
fault. You blamed Mr. Big Rig there for that one. I was there.
Oh, did he just Big Ray? He just threw you under the bus, just so you know. I bet.
There we go.
He's back.
All right, he's back. So, Jeff, did you hear the question?
No.
Okay, never mind. We got so here's the thing. Wandling Gavan is hard to take her serious at any given time, right? And then I find myself leaning towards something, and suddenly she agrees, and I'm thinking, "Holy cow! Maybe I should back off just because Wandling Gavan is saying this." My first thought is Wandling Gavan is mad at somebody, and this is her way of getting back at them for not buying into whatever she was doing on something else. Jeff, you.
Maybe so, but I think it's probably this. Like, you're not getting answers from your city officials, so what do? You kick it up a step or two. You go to your member of the legislature, you go to your congressman or whatever. And I think she's hearing from her people that this is just ridiculous what's going on in the city of Birmingham, and that's where she is like, well, I mean, she may be Democrat and believe all this sort of tripe that they peddle in these urban cities in Alabama, but I also think that she's kind of team state government and not team municipal government.
Well, and she's also team big government. That's the problem I have with this potential legislation is I get a little concerned about the idea of big government and reducing the opportunity for local controls. But right now they got no local controls. It's just, Birmingham, Montgomery, it's got to change because people are dying. All right, that would be
Oh,
round one.
can I say something before we go? Hold on.
Yeah,
hold on.
what do you got?
Just real quick. National Guard. Why doesn't she just do that? Because that will get Randall Woodfin and others to focus more on this stuff if they do that. Why don't they just do that?
Because of a lot of things. Number one, it's the governor who has to call them up and give a state emergency reason for doing it. And then secondly, you delve into issues of posse comitatus. Even though it's the National Guard, you're still looking at martial law and military governance. And so that's a whole can of worms, man. I don't think they need to do that right now. Nope.
I just want the bluff. I want the bluff to force them into good behavior.
Oh, so you're using it as your ace in the hole. I see it. Yeah. All right, good enough. Round one, the Grand Council with Jeff Poore from FM Talk 106.5 and 1819 News, Dale Jackson from WVNN, and also with Yellowhammer News, and this little old me. Y'all stay tuned. We will be right back. We are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Going back right now to round 2 of the Grand Council with Jeff Poore and Dale Jackson. Jeffro Poore, you got it first. What you got?
Back to presidential politics here, and it appears to me, and maybe this is part of the plan. Does it just feel like the Trump guys are laid a little low right now, and they're not really going on offense, or are we just being overwhelmed by a Kamala Harris media news cycle?
Well, I think in part the ramp up for Kamala is definitely underway right now. But it was very obvious, though, that last week, in fact, I think one of the Trump acolytes even said, we see no reason to have to get out there. They're doing it to themselves. And I think that's been the thing. We've been watching them eat themselves. It's like just crazy to see the fratricide going on the Democrat side. Now that they started settling in and coalescing around their coronated candidate, I think we'll see the Trump campaign kicking back into high gear. I think they've been prepping for Kamala for a long time. Dale?
Yeah, whoever gets Donald Trump to be quiet for a long period of time while other people are destroying themselves is doing God's work. Because it's one of his biggest problems when he was president and before was that he would just step all over things that were good for him with other things. He just let this stuff kind of breathe. And the ramp-up is obvious as well. That's true, too.
Well, he also had the convention last week, and the convention kind of spoke for itself. The convention rose those stories. And somebody did try to kill him. There was that little thing that happened like Saturday week. Yeah, that was that's not so far removed from our psyche, although the press is already moving past it. But, hey. All right, your own question, Jeff. Anything more on it?
Yeah, I just think there's binders of opposition here, of oppo on Kamala Harris, whatever you want to call her. And so, when is the appropriate time to really kick it into high gear here?
Yesterday. I think it's time. Now, the funny thing is, she's not technically the nominee yet. She actually is technically not the nominee until the party figures out how to vote in a way that complies with state laws. They've still got a logistical conundrum on their hands right now, but she's been coronated. All right, hey, let me go over this real quick before we run out of time. So apparently, after being AWOL for a week, President Biden, despite the fact that Zoom and Microsoft Teams and all these other means by which he can do a video presentation were available to him, he chose not to even be seen for nearly a week. He's back in the White House. He's going to address the nation tonight. Here's my question. Is he going to resign? Your thoughts on it, Dale?
I don't think so. I think he still thinks he can be president, and he just got bullied out. I'm hoping he opens it up and goes, they're making me not be president anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not going.
Yeah.
Come and get me. I've got an army and nukes. Come on.
What do you bet they've checked that teleprompter 3 times and tried to make sure he's juiced up with just the right stuff to stay on script? Because I can just tell you, I think that's part of the problem. They've been worried he'd go off script. Jeff?
No, I don't think he's going to resign tonight. I think he's still. It would be a lot for the ticket, and they're all they're worried about is the ticket in November. It would be a lot for the ticket for him to walk away, hand over the presidency to Kamala, and then what? And then so she's got not only getting a presidential campaign together, but also running the country.
Yeah, so I think the thing to watch tonight is if he does something like implodes or goes off script, then he may be out of office. But I don't think he's going to resign tonight, but I think he's going to try to be that which he is not, and that's where he's dangerous to them. So last question, Dale, what do you got real quick?
There's a debate, or is there not a debate? Trump wants it on Fox News. It's already scheduled for ABC. If he backs out, they're going to crush him for it. Will he back out? Will there be a debate? I think there will be.
I think there will be. At the very least, he's already said, I will debate. The thing is, they don't know who the actual nominee is, Jeff.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he'll debate. I don't think she's going to be like I said, I think she's going to be kind of terrible as a candidate. She's just not going to perform to the expectations. She is a high bar now, right? Joe Biden had a real low bar. They have put the bar so high for Kamala Harris, I think she is not going to be able to live up to it.
Well, last question. How do we pronounce her name? Is it Kamala? Is it Kamala?
Kamala, yeah, or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we better figure it out. But nonetheless, hopefully we're only saying it for 100 days and that's it.
There's a clip of Mika Brzezinski saying that they're saying it wrong because they're being racist, and then she says it's the same way twice.
I'm pretty sure that if we said it right, we'd still be racist in their eyes. I don't know what we can do to possibly change Mika. All right, fellas. Dale, be safe on the road. Take care of Grant. Don't get too into the thing tonight. And then Jeff, thank you. All right, you guys, that is the Grand Council with Jeff Poore and Dale Jackson and just little old me. We're going to take a break right now. We're going to come back, and yeah, I got some text messages to catch up on. And then, oh, by the way, I'm just sitting here stoking some personal fury as I watch the devastation being wrought on our public monuments and public squares in D.C. by pro-Palestinians who think it's cool to get out there and spray graffiti on marble monuments that stand for things that they don't have a clue about. And yet here we are, and there they are. We'll talk about that maybe mixed in with some other stuff that I've got laid on for the third dipper. I'm talking about Through the Looking Glass if we get to it. Oh my gosh. It is Alice in Wonderland. It is like craziness right now. This is a political environment unlike that which we have seen. You guys stay tuned. We'll keep bringing you the truth and the reason. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Solid, conservative, and just plain right. Just covering down on some major ground across the northern half of the most beautiful state in the nation. I'm talking about this one, y'all. I'm talking about Alabama. Man, this show goes like way down south of Birmingham, up north of Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, back to Gadsden, parts of Georgia, Tennessee, and even Mississippi all thrown in just for good measure. Hey, listen, for the last month, I have introduced you to one of our newest sponsors, Inspire Advisors. So Inspire Advisors is really a very cool organization. And here's the thing. Too many people find out that in the middle of setting aside for their retirement, making plans, investing in their portfolios and all that kind of stuff that, suddenly they realize that there's things in their portfolio that do not stand for what they say they stand for. I mean, they find out their investment dollars are involved in things like abortion and pornography and human trafficking without even meaning to. Well, maybe it's time for folks to meet Paul Breyer. Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors are actually doing some really cool stuff. They're specialists in what is known as biblically responsible investing. Yeah, there's a good return on your bottom line. Yes, they can make sure you have a profit, but they can also show you how to find companies that are actually aligned with your biblical values. So here's the thing. If you want to meet with Paul, they can do that. They will meet with you personally for free, no charge, just a consultation. Show you what's in your portfolio, run the numbers on it a little bit, and say, wow, looks like you got this, that, and the other mixed into your portfolio, and you may not have known it. Biblically responsible investing. Paul Breyer, Inspire Advisors. Look, there's no cost. There's no obligation. They just want to help you align your investing with the things you believe in, your values. So if you want to talk to Paul and his team over there at Inspire Advisors, the quickest way to do it is either A, go to their website, which is www.moneypatternwealth.com. That's moneypatternwealth.com. Or you can go to our website, rightsidemedia.org. Go to the Rightside Radio tab, click on sponsors, and go to their logo and just click on it. It takes you right to their website. Y'all, I'm talking about Inspire Advisors. It's conservative, it's godly, it's balanced, it's financial freedom with Inspire Advisors. Check them out. I got a bunch of text messages. Let me grab a few of those. Is John from Huntsville giving you a leg up on things right now?
He's trying.
He's trying to give you points now.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are working. Y'all are working the system here.
I don't have any sound effects, but I sent him a little emoji.
Listen, the stuff going on right now in the streets of D.C. is absolutely maddening. We're watching that they're graffiti all over our monuments. They're destructive. They're fighting with police officers, and they just tore the flag down at Union Station, and they ran the Palestinian flag up on it. In fact, I'm watching a video of it right now, and cheering and going on about. Listen, I got news. This is worth somebody getting a nightstick right upside the head. I look at it and think there's no reason to be allowing this to happen right now. Steve from Tennessee actually texted in on that. He says the Army and the D.C. streets are the violent voters that Kamala courts and embraces. She owns them. Steve from Tennessee. Well put. Pam from Locust Fork says, not Kamala. It's too close. Not Kamala. It's too close to Pamela. Oh, said Pam from Locust Fork. Gotcha. Jeff from Indiana says, somebody tell Dale to quit tailgating. I know that sound anywhere. You know what? I heard it. There was like the sound of dogs and laughter in the background. That was, yes. Pete from Decatur says, did you know this is the first time that Kamala's career will take a step forward because okay, I'm not even going to go there. All right, thank you very much. Todd from Decatur says, the media may be changing the headlines about Kamala, but I bet Willie Brown isn't changing his story. Yeah, okay, there you go. There's a lot of folks that apparently remember that. Thomas from Athens says, Thomas, you must be voice texting because I'm not sure what the first word is. He said, somebody must love Kamala. Worst day percentage-wise, investors, I think he's saying. Investors must love Kamala. Worst day percentage-wise since December of 2022. 6 weeks. Okay, wow. Gary from Decatur says, I still worry that no matter what gets exposed about Kamala Harris, they will still perpetrate another election steal, as it's a lot easier to sell the lies about her popularity as opposed to Biden's to justify millions of questionable votes in the election. Listen, man, I'm not arguing. We got to keep our heads on a swivel. We got to keep our eyes open. We got to have, and listen, all of y'all that are worried about it, how about this? Volunteer to be poll watchers. It's a thing. You can volunteer through your local department of, probate office right there in your county. They will take you on as poll watchers. You get like an hour of training, and then you basically are there to help keep an eye on things and that stuff doesn't go awry. It may be Alabama, but we need it. Poll watchers are a really big deal. If you're not sure how to find out where to go, you can just call your local party and ask them, like the Republicans or Democrats. They're all allowed to have poll watchers. And we need poll watchers, y'all. More than ever, we need poll watchers. And I would say that we especially need them, even though it's Alabama, we especially need them in some of our, what I would call blue areas in the state. Ed P. from Huntsville says, Phil, Kamala Harris is only one word salad debate away from earning a ticket on the Joe Biden bus to oblivion. I hope that's true, Ed, because I don't know that she cannot do a word salad. It's how she talks. You know, in fact, what did Trump say? She speaks in rhymes. Like, ride the bus because the bus is for riding. And the riding of the bus is what riding buses is about. That's the kind of thing she'll say. I mean, I just made that up on the spot, but that's what she'll do. We are about time because time is what we're about. And going forward in time, we need to be about more time. I mean, it's every time she talks, it's some kind of weird word salad euphemism.
She has like one phrase that she does a lot.
Oh, yeah. What's that? Unburdened by those things which have gone before us or something like that.
Yeah, the unburdened thing.
It's been, how many speeches has she done like that? JT, Lacey Springs. The protest, tear gas should have been released as soon as the flag was touched and paint sprayed. I agree. Why would you not? You know, I'll tell you why they would not, because it's in Washington, D.C. If that was in, certain, Republican-held enclaves, it'd be different. But right now, I guarantee you the police in D.C. have been told to take a hands-off approach to the extent possible. John from Brownsboro says, here's how it is. No matter how you perceive yourself without talking about it, I'm not responsible for validating your ego. I will treat you with respect and dignity that I perceive from you. Okay, John, I'm not sure if he's directing that to me or Kamala, but anyway. Kyle from Madison says, an X report, that's Twitter, X, reports over 200 devices at D.C. Phones were also collated with Kamala at her Wisconsin rally. Do what now? Collated at, I'm not sure what he's saying. They're at the rally, but they're also at the D.C. protests. Anyway, give me some clarity, Kyle. I can't tell what you're trying to tell me, but that would be interesting if that's what you're saying. All right, listen, I've got a piece right here. I had a whole dipper set up for this. I'm not sure I'm going to get all the way to it, obviously, because we're running out of time, but I'll start with this. What we're seeing right now politically is the Alice in Wonderland version of politics. It doesn't get any weirder than this. It doesn't get any more surreal. It's just, Nancy Pelosi is yelling, off with their heads, as she talks about Joe Biden. And, Schumer is over there leading the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. And then you've got the White Rabbit is, who would be the White Rabbit? I don't know, but he's late and he's got to get there. And then you've got Biden who doesn't know what he's doing and literally is just falling apart on the world stage. Meanwhile, everybody on the Democrat side pretends now already that it's normal. It's not. I saw a piece this morning that really almost sort of validated the way I see things right now. I found it on hotair.com. It was written by a guy named David Strom. The headline is, "This is the weirdest political period in my life." And yes, it is. I like to think that I've been sort of politically in tune for a lot of years, right? I mean, I've got over a decade in state politics. I got 8 years in actual elected office. I got 3 more years working for the Alabama Policy Institute. I've got 3 more years on top of that doing this radio show. I mean, that alone is me looking at politics on a daily basis, sometimes within the bubble, for going on, where are we now? 15 years. And before that, I was tuned in. I was a member of the state Republican Party, the county Republican Party. I was, supportive of candidates. My dad worked for state government for a period of time when he ran for governor. He was also very active, and I was in his campaign. I'm looking at all this stuff and going, this is the weirdest thing I have ever seen. And yes, the guy who's talking right now says, I have never lived through a weirder political month than July 2024. Says we began the month with the smoke still clearing from Biden's disastrous debate performance. Trump's brilliant exit from the political scene for 2 weeks. How weird is radio silence from Trump? And then just as Trump gets back out on the trail, he gets shot. Weird, really weird, he says. Horrible, weird, but yes, also weird. In the 10 days since that fateful event, the Secret Service, Homeland Security, the FBI, and the White House have been very quiet about what happened. Not just unusually quiet, but actually stonewalling. So the Secret Service director was basically blasted, me talking now, blasted when she appeared before Congress and resigned. So we saw a near cabinet level position resign because a former president, potentially soon to be the next president, was just barely escaped an assassination attempt for something they can't answer questions about. And then we have the basically the sort of the political version of a revival in the Republican National Convention. It was of epic scale. It was great. And then Kamala Harris, who we've all been watching for the last number of years with our mouths kind of almost hanging open as she says one inane thing after another, is suddenly like a character from Veep who says, I get to run for president. And she's out there on the trail. And yet, if you think about it, she's also not yet the nominee. She's not. Because to be the nominee requires a vote of the delegates to the election or to the convention. And they don't know when they're going to hold the convention. It's still scheduled for August 19th, but the Democrats scheduled it so late that it doesn't comply with multiple state laws. So then the question is going to become, are they going to do the Zoom call they were talking about for Joe Biden? Because remember, they were about to Zoom call the vote for President Biden until Biden fell apart so publicly. Who ever heard of doing a Zoom call to nominate the candidate for president of the United States? Y'all, the script is almost writing itself. It's as if someone just said to AI, give me the weirdest script for a comedy, or like a dark comedy on politics, and this was spit out of the computer. You couldn't ask for more than this. If you think it's weird, don't worry, so do we. We've been watching this and watching it with detail and coming to you every single day for 3 hours a day, talking about all of the machinations of the world around us. Sometimes it's culture, sometimes it's faith. Right now, politics has definitely been one of the dominating forces in our ability to present every single day on Rightside Radio. But if you're watching this and thinking, this is jacked up, guess what? That's because it's jacked up. It really is. There has never been a time like this. I mean, we've had wackiness. We've had the resignations of presidents. We've had the assassinations of presidents. We've had, moments when presidents came back, like Teddy Roosevelt, to run for a third-party run. We've had upset races. We've had headlines, where, was it Dewey wins and he didn't? I look at all these things and think nothing beats the last month. Nothing. We have seen the crumbling of an active president who had already been voted on to be the nominee, suddenly had his own party turn against him, forced him off the ballot. He's going to talk tonight. We're going to see if he stays on script. The vice president, who can't find her way around the building, is now allegedly going to run for president, but yet she's not the nominee, and she can't be the nominee until the vote, and they don't know when the vote's going to be, and they've got barely 3 months to work with. Less than that, really. Early voting starts in about 30 days in some states. So listen, all I'm saying is this. If you're looking at this, yes, it's like Alice in Wonderland does politics. That's where we are. The White Rabbit is running around like crazy, and the Mad Hatter's sipping tea, and the Queen is yelling off with their heads, and we're all just standing there with our mouths hanging open going, how is this real? But it is. But just so you know, and we're going to a break right now, but just so you know, God is still on his throne. So I say that, take heart. God is still on his throne. The United States of America is still here, and we're going to get through this. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. We are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Solid, conservative, and just plain right. Making common sense like a superpower. That's exactly right. Giving you all the truth to put on those bumper stickers. Saving the world one soundbite at a time. Throwing truth bombs. Oh, I got any more slogans? I think that's it. I just make these things up as I go sometimes. But all right, so we got a bunch of text messages. I'm going to clean that up, and I will tell you this: if you missed it, it is worth watching the speech today by Benjamin Netanyahu to the joint session of Congress. And I mean, he was literally, in my opinion, epic at certain moments, and he's also lighthearted. He was mocking the protesters out front. At one point, what did he say? He said, these protesters out there don't have a clue. He said, from the river to the sea, do they even know what river or what sea? He said, but not only do they get an F in geography, but they fail civics as well. Because what they fail to realize is that Israel has been here for thousands of years. It is where we live and is where we'll continue to live. And then he said, they are basically having their protests paid for by Iran. So all these protesters out there, in his words, were useful idiots for Iran. It was a great speech. And then what was also interesting was, there he is. It was very obvious that Vice President Kamala Harris chose not to be there today. Why? Because she was campaigning at a black female sorority event in, I think, Indianapolis. Because, it's all about the racial demographics. She's out campaigning, so she was not able to be there to preside over the joint session of Congress where the leader of one of our greatest allies came to speak. Yeah, because what she really didn't want was to be sitting behind him where every time somebody posted a picture of Netanyahu speaking to the joint session of Congress, all of the protesters in the street would see her smiling mug sitting right behind him. And she couldn't have that photograph. So she boycotted the Prime Minister of Israel. Let that sink in. Meantime, Netanyahu spent part of his speech thanking Trump for bringing meaningful peace and negotiations to the Middle East. I didn't know Jeff was even on. I'm sorry. I just realized. So Big Rig has looked at me like, are you going to take the call? Well, let me grab line one for about 30 seconds. Jeff Rowe, I apologize, buddy. I didn't know you were there. How are you?
Hey, no problem. I was just seeing some bald-headed guy with a beard in wrestling tights getting beat up on the side of the road there. I can't swear that was Dale Jackson, but you never know. You got to remember, this is Tennessee. There's a lot of transplants here now from God knows where.
Wow, that's hilarious. So you're up there. Are you slowed down right now in Nashville? Where are you?
I'm pulling the hill out of this place, man. I got through.
Well, good for
Doing
you.
Good now.
Give me the quick version, dude. What do you think about Kamala's candidacy?
That's all I can say. She's in Indiana. I don't know why she's in Indiana for, because I hate to tell her, but she's not going to win Indiana.
No, but she was there. She was there for a national convention of basically black sorority members, and in the hopes that she could win back the black vote that's been bleeding away from the Biden-Harris campaign. Hey, listen, man, you be safe on the road. We're about to have the music playing. I'm sorry I missed you, but we'll talk again tomorrow, I'm sure.
Have a good one, Phil.
See you, man. By the way, the grades got in. Dale Jackson got a C- for caring more about his wrestling event. Jeff Poore gets a solid A. Co-champions are Big Rig and Phil with A++. Just want to say, he says, I hate Alabama football, but I love elephants, and so Big Rig needs to find that elephant sound effect. You guys have an amazing night. We're back here tomorrow. We will see you then.